and I have that stupid video all queued up so that everybody can enjoy it here. Or stupid video. That's, excuse me, the intro. And, oops, and I'm here. I've got to mute that. There we go. Mute that so I can't hear it. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And hello, everybody. I'm Steve Sande. I'm joined by Marty Edwards over here. This is Marty. And we're here for Apple World TV Live, AWT Live. I don't even know what episode it is because I got so screwed up last week that I lost count. So we have to apologize, or I have to apologize. This guy was there. He was ready to go. And for some reason, I thought last Tuesday was Monday. And so I was enjoying TV, watching a baseball game, doing all sorts of things like that, and totally spaced out the fact that we were doing AWT Live. So,
well, also, I feel obligated to mention to our readers that Steve has added another birthday since our last broadcast, ends in a 0, and maybe that's why he forgot last week.
Yes, I'm 30 years old now. Well, and that's why I'm doing this for Movember. I figured it would take me 2.5 extra months to grow a full beard. And this should disappear. Most of this should disappear on December 1st. But anyway, maybe what I'll do is we'll do a fundraiser for the phone's ringing. How nice. Anyway, maybe what we can do is a fundraiser for prostate cancer or something, research, and see how many dollars we can get to get people to vote on whether or not I should keep my whiskers.
You know, I've never grown a beard, never tried. I've always had this clean look. So stuff I've never done. So
this is definitely making me look older. So I think I'm going to shave it. Yeah. Gotta get rid of it. Actually, I could probably get rid of everything except this, and then this is somewhat still black. So
yeah. Well, someone asked me if I colored my hair. I said no, I don't. I wouldn't fool with it. Whatever happens, happens. I'll let it go. I want to give a quick shout out to. I hope I've got a young friend from Switzerland watching. She's in the States. Karina. She's an exchange student at our local high school, and she was asking me about our broadcast. And so I sent her a link today. And so if you're watching Karina, drop me a text, or she's being European. Everybody there uses WhatsApp. And so that's usually how we communicate. So she can text me there and let me know. So I'll give a quick shout out to her and maybe a few other friends that are watching. So we got a lot to talk about since 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I was going to see if Paul Gantz was there, but he survived the hurricane, actually with no problems, which was really good to see. So I don't know why. I was really, well, I know why. It's because he's a pretty good friend, but I was really worried about him when Irma went flying over. And apparently the only thing that they had happen was some screens got torn and one tree got uprooted. Other than that, everything was fine. So close one there.
Yeah.
Thoughts go out for all of those in Puerto Rico who just got hammered by Irma. We've got a couple of other places that are just, absolutely got hit. And I don't know what we can say about the tragedy on Sunday night in Las Vegas. That's just horrible.
Yeah, not much you can say. That's just unfortunate, and keep people in thoughts and prayers. So
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. There's just, nothing you can do about crazy. And I think that's
Yeah,
probably the way you've got to look at it.
that's right.
Well,
Well,
and
I know
speaking
we
of
got one
crazy,
watcher. I've got a nephew watching. Um,
woohoo!
he's
Hi,
got an
nephew.
epic, yeah, he's got an epic red beard. I'll have to
Mm,
see sometime. So he's watching. So I say nephew, he's only 2 years younger than I am. So, but he's watching tonight out of Nashville,
nice.
close to Dennis's hometown. But Dennis, once again, can't join us. I think he's on the road.
Yes, he is. He's actually officiating at a wedding, I think, in Florida,
All right.
and he's heading out, and we wish him safety on the roads there. And must be that must be. Well, do you officiate at weddings as well? Of course you do.
I do. Do you have a need?
No,
Well, I didn't think so,
I'm sorry. I got married to the
but I
the
do.
woman I'm going to be married to forever. For
That's same here. 31 years counting. So
yeah, we're 38.
together we've been married. Wow, it's a lot of years.
That's
So,
a few years.
but I do officiate, and so it's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can imagine that's one of those things that's just it's anyway. I'm going to get
Yeah.
all weepy here if I keep this up. Anyway, yeah, and all I've had to drink is water, which is really
So
sad. Anyway, of course, about 2 weeks ago, a little over 2 weeks ago, we had the first deliveries of some interesting new Apple devices, and being the iPhone 8, or 8 Plus, excuse me, the Apple TV 4K, and the Apple Watch Series 3. And, I think, Marty, I'd like to hear your comments
yeah.
about the Apple TV 4K, because I think a lot of people are going to find that very interesting.
Well, I did order it. I set an alarm to wake up at the 12 midnight Pacific time. I actually was already awake, so I didn't even need the alarm. I ordered it, got it delivered on first day, UPS right here, and Apple TV got it set up. And I'll cut to the chase, then fill in details. I returned it for a full refund. Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean,
And could you tell us?
well, it's a great product. A couple of reasons. One, this 4K TV you see behind me with the Apple logo, it has actually Chromecast built into it, which is a Google product. I can send most anything. I mainly watch YouTube videos, ESPN, and some things like that. I actually subscribe right now to YouTube TV, and it goes right to it directly. I like the Apple TV a lot. It's a great product, but it had one fatal flaw for me. And this is well documented. I don't have the link, but if you do a Google search on Forbes magazine, they have companion articles: 13 reasons to buy the Apple TV, 13 reasons not to. Number 3 of 13 reasons not to, I had already been affected by before I read the article. So I started Googling,
Oof.
is it just me, or is this a problem with the Apple TV? It is a known issue. It works as designed, but it made it hard. I was watching a lot of baseball games. Some of them, the ones that come across on Fox Sports or CBS Sports, are all in 1080, really, really good high definition. And I'd go and watch the same thing on Apple TV, and it looked horrible. It was pixelated, washed out, like you couldn't even see the grass on the field. And my wife was sitting here. She said, that doesn't look as good, does it? Sometimes it would, sometimes it wouldn't on various things. So I got to researching what I could be doing wrong. Well, the way the Apple TV works, the first time you hook it up, if it sees a 4K TV, it then programs itself that everything will be sent to the display in 4K. Your pictures, games, anything. And that includes shows that are done standard definition or 720. Everything is upscaled to 4K. And so a lot of the shows I was watching were 720. The Apple TV would always upscale it to 4K. and it just had artifacts.
Wow.
It would wash out. The colors wouldn't wash out, and it wasn't just me. If you search that Forbes article, I'm quoting them. They said it looks horrible, and it did.
Wow.
And
Yeah, you
so
almost,
most
well,
everything looked good, but what I was watching did not.
I really hope that they're, reading and understanding that doing that upscaling is, maybe they expect that everybody's just going to watch nothing but Apple content, which I think you said looks pretty darn good. But, I think they've got to realize that there's a lot of 720p, a lot of 1080p content out there. And if it looks bad, people are not going to be happy with it. Hopefully it's something they can fix with a firmware update.
Well, you could fix it manually. If you went into settings on Apple TV, you could select your output. But anytime that I changed to, say, a 720 show, which ESPN's always 720, they never do any 1080 or 4K, I'd have to manually change it each time. And your average person isn't going to do that, It was buried a little bit. Everything. I mean, I wanted to game a little bit on it. I loved casting the screen over to it. But I have to admit, the Chromecast just passes whatever it sees. It doesn't care. It just repeats it, and it does it perfectly. And honestly, it looked better. And for $200, it was really redundant of what I was doing, and what I already had looked better. So I've got to tell this a little bit. My wife, who's extremely patient with me, of course, been married 31 years, I packed it up. She packed it up for me, send it back. It looked like it just was in a store still when she packed it up. I decided to unpack it and hook it back up. I thought, well, I'm not going to let it go. So I packed it a second time. I did it then. Well, I couldn't let it go. I unpacked it the second time, hooked it back up. The third time I told her, I said, I just can't keep it. I said, it just doesn't look good. And it didn't look good. So I packed it up, dropped it in a FedEx box. And once I heard it clunk on the bottom, I knew it was gone. And so I really hated to send it back. I really like Apple products. They work good together. But, that wasn't for me, at least at this point. So,
yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. And you just have to, some products, you just have to kind of say, no,
right.
this is not working. And I've had, I always remember my one product that I was never really all that thrilled about, and that was the first generation Apple TV, which was it was based on Mac OS. It was a good sized box, looked like about the size of a Mac Mini, and actually had a hard drive built into it and all that. And that device had, as far as I was concerned, the worst user interface. And it was impossible. I mean, to try to do anything, you found yourself spending way too much time, entering passwords, just trying to get certain things to work. And I was frankly, pretty underwhelmed with the device. And I still remember writing an article on Tua that really panned the Apple TV, a first generation box. And I couldn't believe, it was like I had said, it was just like I had insulted the nicest person in the world or something. I was attacked. That's when I kind of learned the how nasty the internet can be. But I just kind of went, okay, whatever. People forgot about it after a week, and we were back to normal. But it was funny because after the second generation, the little box came out, then you started hearing a lot of people commenting on, wow, compared to the first generation, this is much better. Right. So, I think people just didn't want to admit that an Apple product could be bad.
Well, this was not a bad product. It worked well. Very fluid interface, looked great. I would have enjoyed some of the games on it. I actually took time to download a free bowling game where you actually had to do your arm like you was really bowling, and it would detect where you were at. I enjoyed playing that game, but I had to bowl through the office to be able to play it. And it's really a nice product, but I just felt it was redundant. And for $200, well, that $200 would go well toward a new iMac someday. So
yeah. or an Apple Watch Series 3.
Yeah, so I really hated to return it and almost felt a little bad, and but who knows? Someday I may decide I want it again, or the next generation. So
yeah, and who knows? Maybe they'll fix it.
and it's you talking about fix it. It's just the way it's programmed to do that, and it just I do like what the Chromecast does. It's just simply as a conduit that passes whatever it sees, no conversion directly. And so fortunately, we've got enough bandwidth here that I can watch 4K, and 4K looks, well, I'll tell you, it's stunning to watch some of the video. One thing it wouldn't do as well, and this is all licensing, this will probably never be fixed. If I was watching the YouTube app on Apple TV and watched a 4K YouTube video, it would only do 1080. And that's a licensing issue. YouTube does not let Apple use their codec for 4K. So I had to use Chromecast or something else if I wanted to watch 4K on YouTube.
Wow.
So there's a couple little things there. So anyway, I apologize to Apple, and Tim, if you're watching, I know y'all will get it worked out. And so I'm sure he is.
He's got the team working on it right now.
Right now. Yeah, I'm sure.
He
probably just called them. Yeah, right now to get them.
Well, let's see. It's only 6:46 Pacific time, so they're probably still in the office anyway.
And I will mention this: our regional carrier, Bluegrass Cellular, has the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus in stock.
Nice.
Which I'm not going to purchase. If I was going to get any, I want the iPhone 10, and
me too.
I know it's going to be next year before they have it. I just feel.
You never know.
So, what did you get of new toys? Tell us about your Apple Watch Series.
I got 3. Yeah, this little guy right there. You can tell from the red dot that this is a third generation. A Apple Watch Series 3 with cellular, and that is the what they call the Sport Loop. And I really like this band. It's kind of funny because the original Sport band, of course, was and they still sell it, but was the fluoroelastomer, kind of rubbery thing. And I always, my wrist always felt a little clammy underneath that. That's why I ended up switching it out for any one of a number of other third-party straps. This is really, really comfortable. I mean, I can't even tell most of the time that I've got it on, and it works just great. I mean, the one thing I love about this watch is just how fast it is compared to the original Apple Watch that I had. Now, I think if somebody had one of the Series 2 boxes, it's the same internals. They're not going to really see any improvement. People who had either an original or a Series 1, you're going to be shocked with just how fast this device is. Most of the time, it's sitting there caching a lot of information. Some of those, updates like weather and temperature and things like that. I used to laugh because, here in Colorado, we can have like a winter day where it'll start off at, 28 degrees in the morning, and it may be 72 in the afternoon. And it'd be 72 degrees. I'd look at the temperature and it would show, 31 degrees, because it took that long. You actually had to be, in a particular app, not necessarily just even looking at a complication, before it would go out and grab the new information, bring it over to the device. This guy is constantly updated, and I've been pretty happy with it. Battery life compared to the old unit, I'd say is close to 3 times, except if you make a phone call or two in the interim. The phone call or phone capability works absolutely great. It's as good as using a speakerphone on an iPhone. However, it really chews up battery life quickly. And so when I wrote my review, which went out last week, one of the comments I made was, time for somebody, whether it's Apple or a third party, to come out with a watch band that is an extra battery. But I love the fact that I can now wear this literally 2 days and maybe 3 between charges. And I don't always have to remember to take the watch off and stick it on the charging puck. I know that it's going to survive another day. So really highly impressed with it. A lot more than I thought it was going to be.
That's good. So, does LTE stay on all the time?
No, it doesn't. In fact, that's one thing that's confused a lot of people is they've taken the device out of the box and, activated it, done everything. And then they're sitting there going, well, how come it's not showing me the dots? There's this one watch face. I don't know if I can display it here all that well. Well, you can kind of see it there, but that's called the Explorer watch face, and it has a little complication for the phone app, so you can make phone calls. It's got another one for maps, so you can get directions, and then I've got the weather. Just a little line down at the bottom telling me things. Pretty plain, but the important thing about this watch face is that it shows the dots. If you're getting LTE signal, it will show you the dots. And I heard a lot of people, they were saying, oh my God, I activated my watch and I'm not getting LTE. There's something wrong. There's something wrong. I'd gone to my carrier. I did everything I was supposed to do. And, it's not working. I'm going to send it back. Well, it turns out that it was just acting the way it's supposed to. Because of the battery life issue, the Apple Watch Series 3, if it notices that A, it's either on a nearby Wi-Fi network, or B, it's on near a iPhone, it'll just use those. It's like, hey, I'm not going to waste my battery making a phone call the other way. You can do it through the iPhone or you can do it through Wi-Fi. And so once you get away, and I actually had to wait a few days before I was able to do that. But, you turn off the iPhone or leave it at home, you go for a walk or something, and you get away from the networks, and all of a sudden, bing, you see the little dots showing you how many bars of LTE service you have. And that's when, you really kind of see the magic of it. Things are still updating. If you need to make a phone call, for instance, let's say I happen to be out for a walk and a rattlesnake bites me. Could happen. We have a lot of them out here. But, I could do the SOS. I could just press down on the side button for 5 seconds and just sit there as the venom is seeping into my body and I'm, starting to get cold. And it would call the local 911. And then they'd be going, hello, where are you? And I'd be going, rattlesnake. Like that. So anyway, at least I know it can make phone calls. It really does sound good. I also like the fact that Siri finally has a voice on it. And even though she's sometimes a little flippant, like tonight when I was cooking and I needed a 5-minute timer, and I said, it was like, hey, Siri, set a timer for 5 minutes. And she goes, yep, like that. So I wasn't expecting that. I kind of chuckled.
So, well, it sounds like you've had a good experience with it. So, have not returned your product. So,
yeah, my other one is, in fact, I saw today that declutter.com had received it, and they had checked it out, and apparently my money will be coming soon. So, yay! I'm happy.
Well, I don't think either one of us, or Dennis too, have reports on the new phones because we're probably going to wait on that. So
we're waiting for the magic iPhone. Yes.
Well, of course, I'm sure all of our readers or listeners know there was a new iOS update last week and this week, bug fixes. So how are you finding iOS 11?
I like it. It's kind of funny because I really, the only time I had really used it before the actual release came out, I was testing it on my old iPad mini 2. And so I really didn't get to take advantage of a lot of the special features, the multitasking features that you see on the iPad Pro. And I like it on the iPad Pro. It's really amazing how, almost instantaneously I kind of picked up the new gestures. I like it. I haven't seen too much of a problem. The only issue think I'm running into is at certain spots, when I bought my iPad Pro, I got it Wi-Fi only, and a lot of people just shake their heads like, "Why did you do that? You're an idiot." Well, it was like I don't need yet another data plan, so I figured, in the past I've had no problems tethering to my iPhone, so I expected it was going to work. I've had one heck of a problem with it. I haven't tried it after today's 11.0.2 update, but that'll be next.
Well, I've had good luck with it. I'm running it here on my daily driver phone, as people say. And the first time I had a lot of springboard reboots. I just turn around, do something, and it was asking me for my password. And living in our situation, I don't have, it doesn't even have a passcode required for 4 hours. So I never enter a passcode. And I would turn around, it was asking for me a lot. So I was having a lot of springboard, but the two updates have really helped. I've seen a few graphical anomalies where words would overlap at the top, be out of place, and I've read a lot of people reported that. I don't want to sound too critical of Apple tonight, but it seems like some of the quality control is not quite there in the software. Because I see things, and I've got some screenshots. I've seen a lot of other YouTube bloggers comment that they just see so many anomalies. Like I'll see text in a Apple app that's pushed to the very top, and overlaying the battery icon and all that, and then I'll have to go out and come back in to have it corrected. So I have seen that. So I guess you have not some, and so
that's different.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few anomalies like that. And like last night, I went to take a picture. The camera app was black screen only. I could not get it to show a photo.
Wow.
So I had to swipe it away and open it again. Then it finally showed. So I've had quite a few little anomalies with software. And if you'll follow some around, there's some that just think it's the worst update ever. I do not. It works. It's pretty stable. But if I can offer a little, I guess sometimes I'm the other side of the fence with some of the Apple things. It does seem to me that some of the quality control is not there the way they used to. And if Apple were to ask me, and they're not going to, and a lot of people would vehemently disagree, I would just soon Apple close down doing all their karaoke and Hollywood stuff, shut that down and move all those people to computers and phones and software. Do what you do best. But that's just me, and I know you feel that way too,
Yeah, I agree with that 1,000%. I think the last thing that they need to be is a content provider. There are enough content providers out there. Thank you very much. Oh, and Richard Dummer came up. He was watching the chat here, and he says the O2 Bluetooth is having issues. So that's not good to hear. Yeah, it's funny with me, like I said, I really haven't seen too many issues with iOS. The one thing I have seen some issues with is, drumroll, Mac OS. And it's just been with certain apps, so I think it may be the apps and not the actual operating system. But one thing that Apple did with Mac OS High Sierra that I thought was kind of interesting is in the past, just about any app could go in and it could install an extension, a driver or something like that. And, it would ask for permission to do it. But, it'd come up and say, it needs to make changes to your system, put in your admin password, and then it would go ahead and do it. And life would be good. Well, what's happening now is that a lot of these oddball little drivers, audio drivers especially, seem to be, kind of, they don't ask for permission in the way that Apple wants them to now. And I think some of the developers may have forgotten, really didn't read the documentation. The one problem I was really having was with an app from Telestream called ScreenFlow. And ScreenFlow, great app, really works well, but I could not get it to install the audio drivers. And it would say, the installer would go all the way through, it would say completed successfully, I'd close it. And then in the preferences where it talked about installing the audio driver, it would say install audio driver. And so finally, a friend of mine who's actually, I have to bring up here because he's sponsoring AWT for almost the next month. That's Syed Ghaffari. He's an indie developer who's been around for a long time, does amazing work on just about any Apple platform. But he said, I was having a similar problem. Here's what you have to do. Well, between what he said and one other person said, I was able to figure it out. I actually had to unplug my Rode Podcaster microphone so that I didn't see the device on the computer. Then when I installed the driver, it would show up in system preferences and say, do you wish to allow Telestream audio driver to install?
Right.
And I could say allow. Before then, wouldn't let me do it. So really strange little things like that. Other than that, it seems pretty stable.
Let me show you one example. I've got this pulled up quickly. Can you see my screen there?
Sure can. Speed test.
Yeah, and if you're familiar with it, it usually has that blue or yellow bars at the bottom middle. That's the kind of anomalies I'm getting on a lot of apps. That iOS 11 is pushing the graphics. It's not just in speed test. I don't think it's just that app. They're off the screen. They're at the top. They appear over the status bar. And that's the kind of thing I'm getting a lot. So I have to double click, swipe away, and that will usually correct it. But I'm just seeing a ton of graphic anomalies that I've never seen before. And that's just an example I've taken a screenshot of.
And mine's right in the middle.
So, yeah, see, and that it's, if I go to it now, it'll be fine. But it does it a lot. It does it on a lot of apps. And so I don't know why that I'm having. Yeah. And
well,
I've read some others that are certainly fairly well-known YouTubers that are just, beside themselves with this. They say it's the worst quality they've ever seen. I don't think that, but there are some issues. But overall, I find it pretty stable. And, I've got quite a few more examples, but I don't have them pulled up and ready.
Yeah, I know Richard made the comment. He said, just had a phone call. Bluetooth kicked my AirPods off 3 times before I quit using them. So that's definitely not good to hear when one Apple product is,
Right.
kicking off another one there. And as I'm replying to him here, I'm saying I just really hope that my personal hotspot problem is resolved. I haven't heard anybody else having that issue, but that's one of those things you never know if it's a combination of applications that you happen to have on a specific device that are causing the problem.
Right.
If it's, like in the case where I was running into with the audio driver for ScreenFlow, it was just one of those things. I'm sitting there going, well, what else is, does this system know about that has to do with audio? And I went, oh, got to be this Rode Podcaster. Unplugged it, everything installed properly. And that's a weird situation, but I don't know.
Well, I was scanning through to see if I saw any other anomalies. I won't find them now. But there's quite a few, and I'll try to maybe document them. And I know they'll get them cleared up. But last night, I wanted to take a quick photo of something, like I said, open the camera, black screen. I could not get a picture, at all. Tried video, black screen, so I had to finally double click, swipe away. And so I've seen quite a few anomalies. And I guess it goes back to the same thing. I wish Apple would shut down their karaoke and Hollywood stuff, pull everybody in. Let's do software and hardware. It's going to blow everybody away.
Yeah, because that's their area of expertise. It's always been the area that they've done really, really well in. some of the content that they do, software and music, they do a really good job of. Stick to your guns. Don't try to be the other
Yeah.
guys. And maybe I don't know. I just get really kind of upset when I see them talking about, we're going to spend $1 billion a year on content. Well, $1 billion a year would hire a hell of a lot of software developers who could fix some of these issues.
Yeah.
And you just assign one guy, or girl, say, here's what you've got to do, fix this particular problem. Thank you very much.
Well,
And life is good.
one thing it's affected me that's a little, well, I, my eyes do get a little weak, so I had to put on. I had my iMessaging text set at a certain size that was perfect. And so this update, the same setting, lowered that size at least one notch. So if I go back in and raise it up to the size that I had it before, it makes the actual application so big that it bumps everybody's pictures off. Whenever I look at the list, it just is that. So instead of just changing text size, now it changes the whole app and the interface of it to too big. So I'm having to view at a smaller text size now, and I cannot get back to the one that I had without bumping everything else too big. So, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, but there have been a few usability issues. I can certainly get back to that text size, but it makes everything else uncomfortably big. And I know you've seen in the app where it's just like messages and all, and, it's just massive. And so,
well, some of that, some of the stuff like, how it says all inboxes up there at the top, I kind of like that, because being the senior citizen that I am now, it's kind of helpful to be able to see, immediately you've got this, giant thing there. Richard was saying that my audio is raising and lowering.
It is. I thought it was just me, but you're getting real faint and real loud.
I've had problems with this podcaster mic for almost a year on and off, and I thought it was fixed, and it may be having issues again. So what I'm going to do is switch over to the AirPods, and we'll see if that solves the problem. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Whoa. And you
sound like a Verizon commercial.
Wow, and you got really, really, really loud. That was interesting. Okay, how's this?
You sound fine.
Yay. Okay. We're going to give that a try there.
Since we're demoing things tonight, let me just show you what that I was talking about here a little bit.
Sure.
Let me go ahead and bring this up. Now this text size would be large enough for any normal human. It looks a lot bigger on the screen. Then let me go ahead and screen share this. Okay, I assume you can see it now.
Yeah.
Okay. On the phone, that's actually a little bit lower than what I've always read or used. So if I go, and when I go back, you can see I've got everybody's pictures here just fine. All right. Let me go into settings, and if I go to the size I used to have, it would work I'd actually use accessibility, and I'd turn on large text, which gives me a whole nother set, and I would go up 1 unit, which I like this size. I was very comfortable with it. So now if I go back to text and see, here's the text size that I liked. Yeah, it's a little big, but I could read it fine without glasses. But now if I go back to all the people, see, it bumps them off. There's no longer pictures. It makes everything so big that I can't use it anymore. There's no icon. There's no little avatars for the people. They're just names. So I have to go back to a smaller size. I have to choose which way is more comfortable. And that's one of the things I simply cannot change. So.
Yeah, because it is kind of nice, at least, I like it too, being able to have that icon and notice at a glance, oh, I just got a message from so-and-so. Because we tend as humans to recognize faces and things like that a lot faster than we read text. So that's not a good one. Hopefully they'll fix that.
Well,
Uh,
I just can't read at the size I used to. I have to choose the lesser of the two evils. So I choose to have the face.
yeah, Richard brought up a great item. He said, "Hey, maybe you should add text adjust to the control center."
Yeah, that would be a good thing. And something I'm surprised they haven't added to Control Center, and I may have overlooked it, so someone could correct me, is quick toggle for AirPlay. I mean, not AirPlay, AirDrop. I don't keep AirDrop on. I like to just turn it on real quick to send something to my computer, and it's not an option, I don't think, in there. Someone might correct me. I know everybody's going to think I'm totally anti-Apple tonight with my comments, but it's just a lot of new stuff that I had everything working perfectly that, I'm having to relearn to do that I feel was unnecessary. And whenever, especially, we're geeky folks, I can work around it, but you get people, older folks that just want their iPhones to work. It's going to throw them for a bit of a loop when it doesn't look the same. They say, fix this for me. And I can't do it. It's the way they did it now. So,
yeah, that's one thing that it was funny because I was actually supposed to start teaching another one of my iOS classes last week. And I actually told the community college, let's wait until November, because what I want is for people, most of the people in the class to have upgraded to iOS 11 so that we're all on the common ground. I found in a lot of cases, if I get into, we've just had an update, I end up with people who are running 3 or 4 different versions of iOS, right, and it really makes it difficult. So hopefully by November, they've all been nagged long enough and they've finally updated. One question I was going to ask you is, have you updated your Mac to High Sierra yet?
That's a good question. Yes, I have, but I left my time machine not backing up so I could restore.
Good.
But I'll tell you that I do run, this is a Mac Mini 2014, the latest Mac Mini. So I did update it to High Sierra. And do you know it runs faster? It may just be a placebo effect, but I don't think it is. I've done a lot of research online, and everybody says that old Macs, I almost broke into old McDonald just a moment there. Just flashed, just flashed through my mind. But that old Macs actually run faster. And I can tell in this 2014, one of the things, I do a lot of virtual machines. I had a Windows machine that I used for probably 15 years, and I've got a copy of it as a virtual machine. I still use some apps in there. It actually will save snapshots and delete them and load them a lot quicker. And so it's been a really good update for me. The only thing, and I can't figure out why it's doing this, whenever I get notifications, it rolls across the top of the screen, just from various sites. The text is a little bit fuzzy and washed out. I've worked with contrast and brightness and cannot get it quite as sharp as it was, but I'll let that go. It's been a really good update. And so I think I'm going to stay with High Sierra on this. And one of the reasons, whenever I ever do get a new Mac, I've been looking more and viewing video about that iMac Pro. That's all I'll say. I've talked to my wife about it. I know it starts at 5,000, but it's a really nice Mac. She knows it starts at 5,000. And
you have to whisper 5,000.
Yeah, it starts at 5,000. And but whenever I do get an iMac, whatever Mac, Mac Pro, I want to be able to just time machine this computer to that one, and I'll need to be on the same software probably to do it, smoothly. So that's one of the reasons I went to High Sierra, but I really like it. But before we close tonight, I want to say some good things about iOS 11. I really do like it. I know I sound like who's that, Debbie Downer or Negative Nelly? I don't mean to be,
Debbie Downer.
I really do like it. And so I just saw my wife on one of the security cameras go by. I hope she's not leaving when she heard 5,000.
She said, $5,000, I'm leaving this guy.
Yeah, I'm out of here. But I'm going to screen share once more. I don't mean to hog our time here.
Oh, no.
But I really, really like the new control center. And
Yeah.
I love the sliding up and down of this and how everything works. And, the volume and everything. And for anyone who doesn't know, you cannot change anything at the this level and above. Those icons are stuck. You can only change the ones below, your flashlight and various things, remove them, and you can add some things to them. I thought one of the things I ought to point out to our listeners that sometimes I do want to turn off Wi-Fi. Like my wife traveled for almost a week to her parents where there is no Wi-Fi. Her battery was draining a lot, so I had her to disable Wi-Fi while she was traveling. And it really did make a difference. And background refresh I turned off for her. But I told her, I said, turn off Wi-Fi. And I said, now you cannot slide up and hit that button to turn off Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
You have to, if you want Wi-Fi actually off, you have to go into settings and go into Wi-Fi and actually toggle it off right there. And that will turn it off. So you cannot disable Wi-Fi or Bluetooth any longer from the slide up control center. If you actually want it off, I'll go ahead and turn it, but you can turn it back on from there. So that's my little tip for tonight. But I think one of the things I like most about this is the control center and these nice slide switches. And overall, I'm finding it very, very stable, especially, after today. So anyway, I hopefully next week, maybe we'll have a few more tips and tricks and things to
Well,
do
I was
regarding
actually
this.
going to. I'll do a quick demo of a game.
Oh,
Well,
good.
actually, a game and an app. Well, actually, they're both apps, but anyway, a game and a iMessages app. And let me get the sharing on here. Oops, hit the wrong icon as usual. iPhone, iPad via cable. Blah blah blah. Let's see here. Share screen. Da, 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 da. There we are. Can you see it?
Oh, I can.
Yeah.
Your
Okay.
nice
So,
aspens there. And so,
yeah, that was taken a year ago. I should put some of my new Aspen pictures out there that are really incredible. But anyway, my wife and I both love, games that really kind of exercise your mind, and we've been playing a lot of them in the past. But she mentioned the other day, she said, I purchased or went out and downloaded this Sudoku app. And, the good old Sudoku games are really mind benders, especially if you get some that are, considered expert. They can be really, really difficult. And so I said, what the heck? I'm going to go ahead and download this. It's downloadable for free. I've got to remember the name of the company. Easy Brain. There we are. Is the name of the company that creates this app, because an ad just came up. But anyway, as you can see, it's a traditional Sudoku screen. If you just download it for free, they put ads on the bottom of the screen. They're not really too obnoxious. However, after a little while, I just said to myself, I don't need to see any more ads. So I went and spent the $3.99 to get the ads taken off there. But the thing I like about it is that when you create a new game, you actually get a number of different levels. There's easy, which I'm still struggling with a lot of those. I think my best time is a little over 5 minutes. My worst time has been like 15, and I'm getting a lot more of the 15 minutes than I am the others. But then you can get the medium, hard, expert types of games. And they also have something that I really like with a lot of other games, where they throw a daily challenge at you. And the daily challenge can be anything from a fairly easy game to something that's expert. And I thought, what the heck? I'm going to give it a try. I'm already finding that I'm kind of hooked. I really like it on the iPad Pro, because it's a much larger screen, definitely a lot easier to play. But, to actually put something in one of the slots here. You just tap on it and pull up a number. I'm going to guess 2 here. And you'll notice that it showed where all the other 2s are. And they kind of jumped out at me there. You can also get hints if you're really stumped, and I'm not here, but I'll show you what a hint looks like. Tap on the hint light bulb, and it comes up and it says, this is definitely a 4 here. And it's funny because they only give you 3 hints. And if you go for any more than that, you actually have to suffer through an ad, even though you've purchased a ad-free situation. One thing that's really kind of cool with a lot of the Sudoku apps nowadays is that they will let you take notes. For instance, you may see something like this spot right here, and you say, well, man, that could either be a 6, or it could be maybe looking for something here. Let's see. Or it could be a 1, or something like that. It actually can't be a 1 because there's already a 1 in that box. But anyway, it lets you pencil these in so that you can kind of take a look, leave notes for further on in the game. Altogether, like I said, I really like the game. I like the way it plays. It's fairly fast. Some of the other settings that you've got there, you can actually do other sounds. You can turn the timer off if you want to, which I had to laugh about. There's even a auto check for mistakes. Mark numbers which fail to match the final Sudoku solution. And in a way, I kind of think that's cheating. So I've got that one turned off. But $3.99 for the app once it's once you turn the ads off, and works pretty good. Now, the other thing I was going to show here, actually 2 things. One for our sponsor, and that is It's About Time products. They do a lot of iMessage apps, and which I think is kind of interesting. And I'm going to show you, well, first of all, I think I'll show you this. This was something today that was added to the YouTube app, is you can actually have a YouTube iMessage app. And if I wanted to send a link to somebody I'm messaging and say, hey, watch the show, all I have to do is go in and tap on this. And when they receive this message, they tap on that and it begins playing in iMessage. It doesn't actually have to go out to the YouTube app. So it really makes it kind of fun sending video back and forth to people. And if I sent that to my wife, she'd probably scream. So I'm not sending it to her. The other app or the other thing I wanted to show you here is a game called Word Swipe. Once again, this is from It's About Time. I don't know why it's showing that I lost, because I actually did win there. But the way this works is that you actually, once you start playing, the cat is really being noisy tonight, but you go in and you swipe out words in a grid of 16 letters, and you get a certain number of points depending on the letters that are selected for that word. The letters have to be contiguous. You can't jump over and grab another letter. Once you've gotten through 2 minutes of play, you've got a final score, and then you send that on to your opponent. They are told what the app is, so they can go out and actually get the free version if they want to. And you play via messages. So, playing the game, I would do something like this. Comes up and says, go. And then I can start gathering words here. Do this type of thing. Saw, sawn, lad, mad, tad, this type of thing. Heads, head. And as you can see, I'm up at the top of the screen. I've got 75 points right now so I can keep adding up points and try to get my score up there. Like I said, once the timer is totally gone, I can send that on to the other player, and then they can play a game and see if they win or not. And I was just reminded that I need to clean the cat's litter boxes. That was nice to show on the show. But anyway, that's the game is free to try. It's 99 cents if you want it. With all the functionality. The other thing that he's also come out, and we're actually it's our sponsor this week, is an app called Color Bubble Text. And this is really fun because, as you can see, I created a purple bubble text that says "Go Rockies" for tomorrow's game. I'm going to send that to my wife. She's probably going to go, "What the heck are you doing?" But you can create custom messages. Like here, I'll say, "Watch AWT TV," and I can change the. Oh, she sent me a message back, probably saying, "Quit bothering me." But I can change the color of the bubble. I can actually change the text. I can change the text size. I can change the font. Like maybe I want to go to, well, not Futura. That's pretty boring. We'll go to Chalk Duster or something like that. In which case, I'd better change the size of the text again because it doesn't fit real well in there. Other things you can do is actually change the color of the text like that. If you decide that there's something that you're going to be sending out to people a lot, there I actually changed the direction of that. You notice I can change the direction of the bubble. But if you really like it and you want to keep something so you can send it over and over again, you tap on this heart to favorite it. And I'm going to send this to my wife. She smiled at the last one. But now when I bring up that app again, wherever it may be here, help me. Whoops. I don't know what those are. Sticker message. I thought I sent it. There we go. Anyway, I cannot find the app. It's very depressing. AWT. There we are. You'll notice that Watch AWT TV is now saved as a favorite, and I can send that at any time simply by bringing that up and tapping on it. So,
your wife.
She said, "Huh? Never mind. I'm using you as a guinea pig." There we go. And just to be really nice here, let's see if I can find a guinea pig. Guinea pig. There we go.
There you go.
And I'll send her a video. There we go. so much for my demo for tonight, but that was kind of fun. And,
so yeah, that's pretty neat. So what's the name of that message pack or the app that he has?
The two apps, actually, like I said, he's sponsoring us, I think 5 times over the next couple of weeks. The company is It's About Time Products. The 2 products, she sent me a message back. Anyway, the one for the color text bubbles is called Color Text Bubbles. And the one game is called Word Swipe. And both, like I said, you can play for free for a while, or you buy them for 99 cents. So it's an easy buy. I was having fun with them.
We need to, I don't even know how to begin this psychological study. It's amazing. We'll be out. We think nothing about spending, $2 or $3 at McDonald's for a sandwich, and that's gone in moments. And then we'll balk at, $2.99 for an app that we'll have forever. I don't quite understand that,
Yeah.
And so.
Well, it was kind of funny tonight because Barb was trying, kind of balking at spending the $3.99 for that Sudoku game that I was showing earlier. And I actually made the comment. I said, maybe what we ought to do is get set up family sharing, and that way I could buy it and both of us could play. And we're probably going to do that, because as she retires, we'll be getting on a quote unquote fixed income, and that's probably not a bad idea.
Well, maybe next week I might have a couple of games to demo. I'm really interested in a couple. One is called Witness, where you're on an island and solve these puzzles. It's a $10 game, but it really got great reviews. But one I'm probably going to buy I think it's called Flower. It's sort of this almost meditative game, and it's $4.99. Family sharing is allowed. My wife and I, we do that. And so family sharing has been one of the best things that the App Store has offered because we both get to do it. And so,
yeah, and I like the fact that they do that with Apple Music too for $5 more a month. But that's something I still haven't popped the money for. I don't know what I'm waiting for, but
they got a three-month free trial. You ought to at least give it a try. You'd like it. But I may have Flower by this time next week and give a demo of it. So, those were some pretty interesting things. I have never played Sudoku. Never even looked at it. I've seen it, but I need to try that sometime.
It's a real brain bender.
Well,
it can be frustrating as hell.
I think the last thing that I played this afternoon was Angry Birds. I really like the deep. That's a game I still play. I really have always really enjoyed it. So
it's fun.
It is fun.
There's something fun about flinging birds.
Yeah. So.
Richard made a comment about airdrop. I think he was answering your comment there. It says, airdrop seems to be only in the share button now. Kind of makes sense to drop from where you are. And one thing I was going to type it in, but I'll just say it instead. One thing I really, really love now in iOS 11 is when you do a screenshot, you get that little thumbnail that comes up in the corner of the screen. Tap on that. You can go in, you can edit it, and then you can immediately share that to a Mac, for instance, if you happen to be writing a post on a blog. And then you can delete the thing immediately so it's not clogging up your iOS device. I have made more use of that for doing screenshots. I used to I'd do the screenshot. I would wait for it to synchronize with photos, and then I'd pull it out of photos and do whatever editing I needed to do. Now it's much faster. So for bloggers, we really like that.
Yeah, that's got a lot of good use. I've read some people said they hope that Apple will build a way to toggle that off. If you take a lot of screenshots, I have had a little issue. This is not my night of issues, but when it will not disappear after a while and I have to swipe it away.
No kidding?
Yeah, a couple of times it just would not go. And, maybe it's because I kept touching the screen. I take a lot of screenshots to archive various things I do. And sometimes I have found that to be a little bit in the way because I want to press something at the lower left corner. And I'd love a way to toggle that off. But there is good advantage to it being available too. I just like simply to say on or off if I want to. But I think a couple of things we got to look forward to.
Yeah, and I think next week I'm finally going to feel, shall we say, confident enough to, I talked about the drone simulator app that I'm using. And it was funny. I went through the first 3 lessons. I was doing fine. And it was like, oh, this is going to be a piece of cake. And I'm not, I'm really not a gamer. I don't have very good hand-eye coordination. So I got to the 4th lesson on this thing. And let's just say that I kept getting, it'll grade you A to F depending on what kind of score you get. I got a lot of Fs. And then finally I started improving and speeding up and landing in the proper places and got an A. So it was yay. But anyway, I may actually show that app next week. It's a Mac app. It uses an actual drone controller hooked up via USB to so that you get familiar with the joysticks and any motions that you need to do. And maybe I'll do a demo of that next week.
And I think I'll plan on doing a demo of that flower game or some other game or something. But, cool. Overall, I'm really liking iOS 11. It probably doesn't sound like it, but I do, because it seems, I'm just pointing out a few things that are little anomalies at first, but it seems really stable for the most part.
It's a love-hate relationship.
So it'll get better, but Mac High Sierra has really breathed new life into, a 3-year-old Mac here.
Hey, I was even surprised. I thought, when I put it on my little MacBook Pro, you figure, this machine's fast enough, no problem. It actually seemed to speed certain things up, especially when I'm using the Touch ID pad to log in on that. Very, very fast. It used to actually have a lag of like 2 or 3 seconds. Now it's like tap, boom, I'm in. So I'm happy with that.
Of course, I'm not able to take advantage of Apple file system because this has a regular hard drive in it, So.
Bummer. Well, soon, I hope. Soon. I'm going to keep saying that. Soon. We can only hope. Well, we've come to the end of another hour, and it looks like 6 minutes here, so I'm going to go ahead and sign off. The cats are going crazy, running around the house. And Marty, thanks again for a fun evening.
Yeah.
And no, you're not griping. I mean, it's we expect perfection out of the company from Cupertino, and sometimes they aren't real perfect. So.
Well, I think we get to using things that's so comfortable that when it disrupts us, it makes it a little hard, and especially people that aren't tech geek people, it's going to be a little disruptive to them. And so I haven't really been pushing people or say, you need to update to iOS 11, because I know they're going to have a bit of a learning curve.
Yes, they will. Well, for Apple World today, I'm Steve Sande. Marty Edwards has been with me here. We're here every Tuesday night.
Except when
I forget.
Yeah, that's all I'll say.
Like I did last week. And but we're usually here. If you're watching this on YouTube, we just ask one nice thing: subscribe to our channel, and also give the show a like. Eventually maybe we'll have 10 bazillion likes, and we'll be able to actually afford these things that we keep buying from Apple. But anyway, appreciate all of your viewership and readership. The site actually did pretty good last month. We'll see how October does. And see you next week, everybody. Take care.